Kristy-Ann, thank you so much for being here with us today. It's wonderful to have you.
I'm excited to be here, Matt.
Awesome. Now, how long have you been a student for at TCI?
I've been in the proximity since late 2017.
Wow,
So
that's
yeah, I did my
awesome.
Fox in August 2017.
Fantastic. Love it. And I imagine that because you're such a supporter of the school, I imagine over that time, you've just loved your journey here and grown so much.
Oh, exponentially. Some of the possibilities and opportunities that have presented as a result of being in this proximity has just been phenomenal. I'm a big advocate, as Jim Rohn says, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I attribute a lot of my success and the aforementioned possibilities, opportunities as a result of being in this proximity.
It's fantastic. Thank you. So, share with us how you began. Where were you at in your life when you decided, I'm going to call up the Coaching Institute and I'm going to do a life coaching course? Where were you then?
So I've actually been a certified coach and therapist since the end of 2014, 2015. However, more and more I found that I was thriving or had thrived for a number of years in the achievement, ambition driven corporate space. And I got to a point where it was just lacking meaning and fulfillment. So I really started to explore the feasibility of transitioning out of that corporate workspace into founding my own coaching and therapy practice. However, I found that there were gaps, and where there's a gap, that just becomes a goal, really. And those gaps were in and around, whilst I had, qualifications, certifications, competency in and around my coaching and my therapy capabilities, I had no idea how to run a business, how to start a business, how to found a business. And the really unique thing, I guess your unicorn, if you like, a point of difference that TCI offered was both the coaching aspects, but also was complemented by the business aspects. So in my mind, I felt, those coaching aspects, I could consolidate and integrate the things I know and or glean and garner more frameworks, more modalities, more interventions to really expand my repertoire, but also learn how to build a sustainable coaching and therapy practice. So that was really the driver for connecting and reaching out to TCI.
Thank you. So you were working as a clinician or as a therapist, but you were in the corporate world, and so you found that you were lacking purpose. You were lacking meaning. When you were going through that, what was that like? Like, was it a long build up? Was it there like a moment where you were just like, what am I doing? And the reason why I asked the question is because I think that's something that we're all going to face if we haven't faced it yet. We're going to face that moment where we check in and we say, why am I doing this? Is this really what I should be doing with my life? And do I really connect with it? Or am I just going through the motions? What was your moment and how did that evolve?
I guess it got to a point where it got a little bit soul sucking. So I got to a point where my peers around me, I was getting feedback like, KA, I'm fondly referred to as KA in some of my inner circles. Like, KA, you're the force behind, you're the power behind, you validate, celebrate, elevate everyone and everything else. Why aren't you living your dream? You're lining the pockets of these corporate giants. You could have a profound impact, a ripple effect off of your own back. So that was a real driver and a significant aha moment for me. And
Sorry, can I just ask that when you had that moment, because this is such a good story, when you had that moment and your peers started to suggest it to you, because I've heard a lot of people say similar things, right? You got a peer that the people around you start to kind of give you the thing that maybe you're not seeing, right? Did you doubt it? Did you have a moment where you were like, can I actually do this?
from a self if I looked intrinsically, yes, but then I had this innate knowingness, and I've actually just authored a book, and it's called An Inner Knowingness. I knew that if I
Congratulations.
thank you, Matt. I knew that if I surrounded myself with the right proximity, that I'm possible. I'm possible, you're possible, we're all possible with the right support and enablement around us. And I really did a lot of reflection. And what I identified was that I was naive to think that I had impact, that I had influence. I was a leader in a team of 9 in a department of 180 in an ASX listed company of 3,600 people. And my ripple effect, in essence, was actually quite small. and I was really linear in my thinking in terms of the impact I could have. And even in joining TCI, I was quite linear to think, I'd have this one-on-one coaching and therapy practice, and I had the privilege of transforming lives one conversation at a time. And now it's just so the possibilities and opportunities we referred to earlier, there's so many vehicles to make a difference, to create impact, and I've expanded that, doing the one-to-one coaching, the one-to-many, book publication, development of intellectual property and the like. There's infinite possibilities if you're open to exploring those and being vulnerable and taking risks and failing forward.
Love it. Now, when you first started your journey, if you can go back to, say, your foundations weekend, which is where all of our students begin, they do this powerful 3-day training. It's immersive. They learn how to do their first coaching session. I'd love to know, what was it about that you found exciting? What did you find that was challenging? Was there anything confronting about it? I remember when I did my foundations weekend, a lot of it was like this deeper self-awareness. It was like, oh, wow, I actually don't know the answer to everything, which is, I think that's ridiculous, because I did mine when I was 26 and I thought I knew the answers to everything. Silly. And so for me, it was about being humble. What was it for you when you did your foundations weekend?
So I had a milkshake of emotions. I guess I had a level of personal expectation coming in, knowing that I had some knowledge in and around coaching,
right?
Although I'd come from different schools, so was obviously mindful that there would be different perspectives, if you like, or different modalities or different approaches, a different culture really within the school. There was a level of imposter syndrome and apprehension because I felt that possibly there'd be some personal expectation and or expectation from others in and around the level I was or I wasn't coming in at. But really, trepidation, excitement, anticipation for what's possible.
Beautiful, really awesome. And I thank you for sharing that, because I think a lot of people will resonate with having a bit of imposter syndrome or having a little bit of a mixture of emotions. I know when everyone I speak to has got started on the coaching journey, it's always a mixture of, I'm excited and I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? And it's just this, you said it, a milkshake of emotion. Now, share with everyone what you do now. So as a coach, as a professional coach, someone that you've started your own business, which is wonderful. You've authored a book, you've created your own models and frameworks, I imagine. What is it that you do at the moment? And share with us a little bit of an insight into your day.
Okay, so I actually have two niches. So I have my coaching and therapy practice, which does a lot of introspection, a lot of transformational based coaching. And then I have a speaker coaching practice. I've worked with over 3,000 participants in and around really honing and refining their message and amplifying their confidence and certainty so they can deliver it with impact, with influence and authority. Essentially our pitch, for example, is a lead magnet. So if we can't clearly and succinctly articulate who we are, what we do, and the problem we solve in the world, that's a missed opportunity, one conversation at a time. So I'm really passionate about that stuff. And I guess too, one of the reasons was because I had that fear of public speaking, that social anxiety. I worked with leaders, executives and their teams for many years, tabled proposals and the like, ran trainings and facilitated. However, that mind shift, stepping up onto an elevated platform and being about me and my story as opposed to content, which you are dissociated from, there's no emotional attachment to, is very, very different. So I'm really passionate about what I do in that speaker space, in that personal empowerment space. From a coaching and therapy space, I deal with a lot of my clients come to me with unresolved negative emotion, with fears, phobia, trauma from the past. So I work with them to really remove those interferences and to build strategies and resources for sustainable change, to manage their mindset, to become familiar with their triggers and the like, because awareness is 95% of the journey.
Yeah, really well said. Really well said. Yeah. Along the journey of you doing that work, how has this journey impacted you as a person? Like, if you can give me maybe give us a bit of a before and after. I know that we know that the journey is so significant, but one of the things that I find really common is in the beginning, not everyone gets it. That when we go to do coach training, that there's this wonderful journey coming for us, this beautiful personal journey where we just we grow, we let go, we open up more, we become more through this journey. And it's nearly like you can't not, I think.
Yes.
I do believe that you can't bypass that wonder. But not everyone knows. I didn't know it was coming for me when I did this course. What's been your before and after?
Wow. I haven't become something else. I've become something so much more.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, so 2018, it was a profound year for me. So, my story, if you like, one of those significant life defining moments, I hadn't shared that for 20 years. And 2018 was the first time that I shared it in a public arena.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was so cathartic. It was so transformational. And it made me realize the story that I'd been telling myself, or the meaning I'd attached to that story, was fueled with grief, with loss, with pain, with shame, with sacrifice. And when I shared that story, and for it to be received as so inspiring and so empowering, so much so you get a standing ovation, it's kind of like, and that made me realize the power of vulnerability. Vulnerability creates relatability. Vulnerability creates likability. And my coaching world opened up in that moment because people resonated with my story. And they're like, if she can do it, I can do it too. If you've had this transformational change, this awakening, this growth, however you want to frame it. And that really resonated with people. So I think, standing in my power and sharing and speaking my truth with confidence, with certainty, with conviction. And it's that story that I feel really aligns a lot of my clients and attracts them to me.
Yeah. Really, really, really well said. I like how you really highlighted there the importance of vulnerability. I think as we go on this journey, sometimes the beginning can simply be the vulnerability of saying, I actually can grow. I actually have more to grow. A lot of us get taught that that's not okay. We need to shut that down. We need to pretend that I don't need anything. This is just for someone else. So the vulnerability of opening up to, I have a journey to go on. Now,
may I add to that, Matt?
Please.
And it was a bit of a gem when I first heard you say it. And it was like, you don't have to have your stuff together. Yeah. You don't have to be an experienced coach to start. Where you are is perfect. And something that it was like a resounding message, and I often shared it back to myself in moments of doubt, is, just start from wherever you are is perfect. And the reality is that my needs have been taken care of along the way. I've had growth, I've had insights, learnings, and reflections through client sessions.
Yeah, same. I've actually found that when I have been going through a personal challenge, that the best thing that I've done is continue to practice and continue to coach people, because it gave me another perspective. It taught me about compassion. It taught me about gratitude. There was things that I learned from helping.
Yes.
Right. So it's such a gift that we receive through giving. Kristy-Ann, I know that there's going to be people watching this right now that will be inspired by your story. What would you say to someone who's sitting there thinking, I think I want to do this. I think I want to join the school. I want to become a coach. What would you say to someone?
Hands down. Don't ruminate for another moment. If you want a community where it's fueled with connection, opportunities for collaboration and contribute, there's plentiful opportunities to pay it forward. If you don't have the resources, there's a community that will jump in and support you. There's the Waugh team, which is the student support team. And beyond that, the other coaches, facilitators, and mentors that have numbers of years of experience. And the thing that I've loved about the journey, Matt, is there's always someone ahead of me. So they are inspiring me to aspire to have what they have, to achieve what they've done. You're never, ever alone. And, in other schools, and even trying to do it alone, it takes significantly longer, even if you are resourceful. It's about resourcefulness, but the amount of resources here through the student online learning platform, the peers, the mentoring, there's 3 different touch points at least for every piece of information that you're seeking. So for me, community is everything. That is the thing that, drives me, engages me most about TCI.
Thank you so much. Absolute pleasure having you here. It's been wonderful.
Likewise, Matt. Thank you for your time.